time for Licking on Lending.
Welcome, everybody. Good to have you with us.
Welcome to Licking on Lending, a weekly mortgage market update providing up-to-the-minute information on interest rates, loan programs, and hot industry news, all related to the mortgage industry. Brought to you by Transformational Mortgage Solutions. To participate in today's program, our guest call-in line is 646-716-4972. Now here's your host of Licking on Lending, David Lickin.
Let's begin.
Listeners, I am excited to have not only a technology guru on here, that's the right word to say, but it's the right way. I always think of Lori Brewer as just someone who has got her finger on the pulse of what needs to get done in technology. And so Lori is a former officer at the U.S. Air Force. She's a Boston Marathon, not starter, but a finisher. I don't know what her number was, but just the fact that you run a Boston Marathon is great. Mother of three boys, Chief Technology Officer for Simple Nexus and an Encino company now with the acquisition. So Lori Brewer, good to have you here with us. Just appreciate you so much as a friend. Have so much respect for you as a technologist.
Great to be here, David. Thank you.
Well, for most our audience, I think, has an idea who you are, but for those that don't, would you give us a little bit of a journey of your background to where you're at? Journey to where you're at and a little bit of your background is what I was trying to say.
Sure. I kind of like to say I'm an accidental entrepreneur. Like you said, I came up through college on an Air Force ROTC scholarship. And after that commitment, I was hired by a mortgage company. I really didn't know anything about mortgage lending. But after 10 years of hands-on, I was hired as their developer to create an intranet, if you guys remember what an intranet was. But I spent 10 years learning the ins and outs of running a mortgage company. And in 2008, my company appeared on the Implodometer, if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how LBAware was born. I started my business with a laptop and a stack of business cards, and I reached out to my network and I figured out what problems people were having and how to solve them. And that's really the three principles LBA was built on, which was understanding the mortgage industry, creating repeatable solutions that solved widespread problems, and doing the right thing so that we could build trust. And last October, Matt Hansen and Simple Nexus purchased LBAware. 2 months after that, Encino, if you're following our news, Encino then purchased Simple Nexus, and we've just had a fantastic year.
Yeah, phenomenal year, a lot of changes, but someone's not going to buy you unless you're doing some things really, really well, and you have. And I want to get into some of those products. But before we do, congratulations being named the Chief Technology Officer at Simple Nexus. And so that's a big promotion or a big role. And I want to get some ideas of what now gets you excited in this new role at Simple Nexus, again, an Encino company.
So I really do think it speaks volumes to having a double acquisition. And then Encino reached out to Matt Hansen, who was CEO and then Chief Product at Simple Nexus. And they said, hey, we need you to come up and help run Encino products. So Matt was promoted up to Chief Product Officer at Encino, which then pulled me up into his slot, into my slot at the, for the LBA products. Mary Denton was pulled into that. Yeah. So we pulled three very veteran internal folks up through the organization. And it just speaks volumes to how excited we all are to stay here at the company and continue to build out the products. For example,
Give us an example.
For example, one of the things that we're doing several things across, I call it kind of the three layers, but of the companies and how we're merging. But one great example is Comp'nSave, which was an LBA, was an LBA product. Now it's Simple Nexus product. We have, very detailed compensation data. Now we're surfacing that in the Simple Nexus app. So as an LO, you don't have to leave your mobile app. The minute that loan closes, you're able to see the details of your commission. We're continuing to build out that experience through the mobile app to connect your borrowers, your real estate agents, and your settlement agents all in one platform. So, all the way from a prospect lead, and they have, one of the cool things is we have a Spanish loan inquiry. So, if you looked at the stats and the fact that we're in a purchase market and who's going to be buying homes, you need to be reaching out to your Spanish speaking prospects also. But all the way from that loan prospect application, all the way through to closing, e-signing, and then to the first payment that you can collect through the application. You don't have to leave the Simple Nexus platform. And that it's really exciting and it's fun to work on.
Yeah, well, you always like to challenge, and you couldn't take on a bigger challenge in the mortgage industry, and you've done so well at finding solutions and niches in the market. And I'm really thrilled to see your enthusiasm for Simple Nexus and the Encino family of companies. So I think it's just really, really exciting about this. Lori, as a result of Compensate, I'm certain you are looking at some trends with loan officer compensation. Are you seeing any trends changing? Any changes in trends?
So I get that question quite a bit, and there's no secret to that I can help. Here's what I see is a lot of people asking that question because when you're faced with a declining market, as we're in, and CFOs are being asked, go back and look at your P&L statement. What's on the expense side that we can cut? And part of the problem is with volumes down 40%, there's not a big enough bucket that you can even. You can redo a couple contracts here and there and save a few $1,000, but with this deep of a production hit, compensation, makes up 30 to 40% of the expenses. And unfortunately, and a lot of people probably don't want to, think about it, but that is the bucket that people have to start looking at if they have to go that deep. That said,
I think that's a good point. A lot of people are looking at it, but they're afraid to touch it because you disrupt the sales force. So what you're saying, if I'm hearing you saying, is no, the answer is no changes at this point, but it's one of those things that's logically being looked at, but no one is yet going there, but we might anticipate that might be happening at some point in time in the future.
It's tough, right? I mean, you need sales. We need the loan originators, and especially in a tough purchase market, you need them out there consulting, and you have to pay them well. And yeah, I can go in a rabbit hole on that, but LO comp rule, it just does not set us up to be, in a capitalistic environment with our industry because it rubs you wrong on the business surviving and making money, yet the LO is not incented in any shape or form and cannot be on the revenue. So in markets like this, it's a tough problem.
Yeah, it's really good. I appreciate you going there, and it's a dicey issue. I hate even asking the question, but everyone's asking for it, and there's probably no one better to have a perspective on it, especially that you're the creator of this product when you had LBAware, and it's one of the strong products that everyone listening to this podcast, if you're a business owner or an executive team, you need to look at what this product could do to help you look at the earnings. And it's also a real benefit to the loan officer. So that's just one of the many products you could go, we could point everyone towards it when they're considering Simple Nexus. But Simple Nexus also boasts of an impressive team of seasoned mortgage professionals. How does this expertise translate into benefits for the lenders currently using Simple Nexus or considering using any of their platform or any of their products?
We put a lot of weight in looking at when we're hiring on mortgage expertise. It's just not something that you can easily teach. We look for people that are creative, innovative, and then and do no mortgage, because that's important, and you have to understand the lingo. And so we've had, it's been a tough year, like we've talked about and everybody's talking about, but we're in a great seat, I think, in a great situation in that we do have Encino. We have a very strong foundation, a strong balance sheet, and we're hiring. So we're one of the few, I think, technology companies that are bullish right now, looking to pick up some amazing talent from our competitors that might not be in such a strong situation. And so we've had some really amazing hires lately.
Yeah, not only is Encino well capitalized and has a great vision, but its leader, Pierre, has an amazing vision. I can't wait to get him on the podcast because I hear so many things about him as leaders. Several friends I know that are good friends of mine are good friends of his, and they go, look, you got to meet this guy. He's really got a vision. And it's so much about vision and then surrounding the vision with expertise. And they certainly have done that with you. So, Lori, there's a lot of turbulence in the mortgage industry right now. We've already been starting to talk about that. What are you seeing within the industry that is helping lenders find a path to success?
So I got, back to being bullish. I see kind of two camps. Lenders are either bullish and they're looking across the competition, and they're looking to pick up some branches and some strong LOs, because we've been there, done that, right? And if they put money away for a rainy day over the last couple of years, they're well situated to now's the time. Let's double down, let's be ready, and let's also look at our technology. Are we spending with a variety of vendors that may only be giving us one teeny thing, and can we combine that? That's why I'm most excited about my new role at Simple Nexus is we can give a lot of the extras on top of the LOS. We're not an LOS. We don't plan to be. We can give all the pieces across it, and we can help consolidate, the business and those solutions through us versus having a bunch of different vendors. And I think people are looking at that too, because, MBA comes out with these stats all the time. Why are we spending so much money on technology? And then production goes way up in the last 2 years. And what happens? We hire 40 to 60% more processors. So why couldn't technology help with that? So there's definitely room for improvement from the technology vendors to ensure that, that we really are helping cut costs, not just make things easier, but also replacing and allowing people to handle more volume without hiring more bodies.
Certainly, there's a lot of focus on cost cutting, right sizing, all of that. But I think what's lost in the good times is how to grow in such a way where you're managing your costs. So when the downsides, the cyclical downsides of this industry, which we have them so regularly and painfully aware of it right now, it makes the manager more easily and manageable to go through and successfully keep our costs and without so much pain to so many people. We have a tendency to throw too many bodies at the problems that we face, and when especially comes to extraordinary growth such as we're talking about.
So I want to also say it's not all doom and gloom. I don't think the market's tough, but it really is similar to 2018. We've just had such a couple boom years we've forgotten, and we have some of, the largest independents on our platform, and companies like American Pacific and Cross Country, they're growing. So they're in growth mode, and it's really exciting to partner with them because they're also in the situation where they're looking, I say hire, but essentially bring on more lenders to increase their business. And they're in that situation, and they did do a great job of saving for a rainy day. Pilgrim Mortgage out of Texas is another great example. They're instead of curling up in a ball, and waiting it out, they're excited to take a breather and get ready for the next few years or whenever the market's going to turn, because we know it will.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to work with those lenders too.
Yeah, I know Mike Pilgrim and his brother real well. So down in San Antonio, so good company. And it's so obvious when someone prepares well how they can go through some of these times and take really extraordinary amount of market share. Greatest market share growth is in these kind of times, and I think that's exactly why. You talked, Lori, about the importance of. Well, let me rephrase that. You talked about you're not going to be an LOS, yet we all talk about the importance of getting down to a diffused number of platforms. I'm not sure there's a single platform solution, but talk about the quote unquote single platform experience and how you guys focus in on that and how you're going to solve as much of that single platform experience as possible.
Right. And I say that, but we also are working hard now. One of our big initiatives this year is to increase our APIs. So we want to work with the rest of the industry and ensure that we can smoothly share data back and forth. I think that's kind of one of the longstanding problems that undermines a lot of progress in our industry. And we definitely want to open up data across because we can't be best of the best of everything. We want to work with other companies that are best of breed in what they do. And that's one of our initiatives is to work with some of the smaller LOSs. So we're adding integration and disclosure and e-closing for some of the smaller LOSs. We also have a much bigger vision now. LBA was 50 people. For 2 months, I was Simple Nexus with about 350, and now we're over 3,000 people. Wow. And Encino is global. So I'm learning as fast as I can, but the vision is of course much larger. Encino brings in capabilities and functionality across commercial and retail banking. So we're really looking at and studying the best ways that we can integrate mortgage with retail, especially. So you know how painful it is when you're working with your bank and they have all your information, and then you go to apply for a mortgage and you have to start over. Like, why is that? Why can't we smoothly hand you off and fill basically most of your application based on the fact you're already a customer? So we're working on those things like account openings, deposit openings, and the handoff between the different systems. And of course, as you can imagine, there's a lot that goes into that for security and PII. But that is the mission is to be a full tech platform across 4 depositories as well as independents, and then to ensure that we have a really strong, capable solution to integrate with the best of breed companies that are in our ecosystem.
Talk about new products that are on the roadmap. Anything you could talk about? Give us some insight.
We have a lot going on. Well, we do have Nexus Pay, which allows us to take payments. And then we're working toward, if you think about the home ownership journey, you start looking for a house and you have to get that pre-qual letter. So, we have that piece, and we're making sure that's smooth and the handoff is smooth for the application. And one of the things we're working on is to ensure that all the team members surrounding the LO can jump in and do their parts in the application. That's one thing. Simple Nexus started out very focused on the LO, and we're increasing that within the inside the lender for your LOA and processor and so forth. The closing platform, we're still working really hard on hybrid and e-close and RON. Industry as a whole has a long way to go there. And what I started to say is then we're working at this end when your loan is handed off to your servicer, collect the first payment, have some information stretching out over time on how many payments you're making, what that picture looks like, so that can feed back in our calculators when interest rates do go back down, so that we can help feed that loan back in to our original customer if that's what they wish to do. So we're looking at kind of those ends of the spectrum to ensure that we're not only smoothly working on the experience with the borrower, the agent, and the settlement agent, but also on the front end for prospective buyers, and then on the back end after the loan closes, to ensure that we keep that app on your phone, because it's so valuable. You've downloaded the app, it's on your phone. We need to continue to give our consumers information through the app so that it stays active. And those are things we're working on.
Very exciting. Lori, I love your enthusiasm for Simple Nexus and the acquisition by Encino and all that this represents. 3,000 employees global now. And you're sitting in this wonderful seat as the head of technology, the developer. I mean, this is really exciting. I want to get some insights to your enthusiasm, not only for the company, but for this industry and the trajectory. We're going through difficult times. I think people would love to hear why you're so excited about this industry and what the future has to hold.
I am excited about it. And, it's hard to bring up at family reunions. They might not understand why it's so exciting. But at the end of the day, we're a small group of people that help influence a large amount of money, right? So I think this year we'll end up somewhere around 2.4 million, right? Trillion lended out. And next year they're projecting it will be somewhat similar. Yeah. That is an enormous amount of money helping families into new homes. And I think some of the exciting things that, for example, Fannie and Freddie are working on are new ways, because we have to expand the credit window. New ways to qualify borrowers, looking at, rent statements and being able to use deposits, that goes outside of my expertise, but I know enough that as an industry, we're working hard, and there are several amazing people that are working hard toward the lower to middle income housing brackets that we need to help them find. My niece just finally was able to sign a contract on a house in Fort Collins, Colorado. The market there has just been crazy, and it's pushed out anyone that's kind of in a normal, income bracket. And I'm in Macon, Georgia. We really haven't had that here. Exactly. But I know in several markets, why, well, we know why, but there are so many things that we can do to help first-time home buyers with that. My first home was 1,800 square feet. And you look at the stats around the affordability of a 2,000 square foot, 1,800 square foot home, the income level, I think, if I remember the numbers right, has gone from a $70,000 a year annual income for qualifying up to like 120 just within the last 18 months. Yes. I mean, that has excluded an enormous amount of people from being able to afford their first time home, not to mention rents now are going up. So as an industry, I know we're all kind of, at the mercy of a lot of forces that we can't control, but we also have the ability to influence the rules, to widen that credit box. And I think that's some of the most exciting things going on.
Yeah, there's so much to be encouraged by when you look at the macro impact or the macro. If you look at the macro stats out there, statistics, it's really encouraging what we have. It is difficult going through these seasons, but again, you get the right technology vendors with you, lenders, you are going to do well. And I cannot encourage you enough to get a hold of someone at Simple Nexus and learn more. Lori, congratulations on your new promotions. That's first of all, the sale of the company, your new promotion, and all the success that you're enjoying there. I'm very excited about the company and your future and your contributions to the industry at large. Appreciate you, Lori.
David, you're great. Good to see you. See you next week at MBA.
Looking forward to that. And what's the best way for people to connect with you and learn more about the Simple Nexus vision?
Thank you. So simplenexus.com. If you go on there and request more information or just fill out like the generic, I'd like to speak with someone, we will get back to you. Or you can find me, Lori, Lori Brewer on LinkedIn. Send me a direct message and I would be happy to chat about anything, whether you're looking for some amazing software or just want to talk about the industry or compensation or anything affecting your business. I love to have those conversations. So hope that you'll reach out.
Very exciting. Lori, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to Lykken on Lending, a weekly mortgage market update with your host, David Lykken of Transformational Mortgage Solutions. Join us next week, and thanks for listening.